These are the interviews from Chat City on Preston FM. Don't forget, our show is live weekdays from 10 till noon. Tune in and become part of our family. And in the studio, I've got two guests. I'm going to make Huey very jealous now because he always loves it when there's live music and live performances in the studio. And he's off on holiday with his fluffy bunny slippers and his plate of cream, custard creams. And he's missing. We've got Dean Fraiser, our local quantum folk poet.
Good morning.
And also Tom Metcalfe, who's a singer-songwriter.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to turn Tom up a little bit louder. How are you doing? So what's happened since you were last here, Dean?
A few more gigs, and collaborating with Tom. We're doing some experimental poetry to music and seeing where it takes us.
Is it like a wildy, wandering track through prose and poetry?
Something like that, with a little bit of singing along the way as well.
Singing from yourself?
Well, kind of. More talking to rhythm, I think, would be a better way of describing it.
That sounds beautiful. Tom, how did you get involved with Dean?
I've known Dean for a good few years now. I think we first met through the Bohemia events at the Beautiful Planet. Is that right?
Many
Dean?
years ago, yes.
Yeah.
And we've shared many bills, but never actually worked together. So it just seemed logical to come together and see what we could do.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the creative spark that brought this collaboration? Was there something particular?
From my point of view, I fancied putting some of my poetry to music and see how it worked. And Tom being a brilliant musician, he was the first person on my list.
And was it definitely that sort of guitar kind of folk style? Or
I'm sort of experimenting with all different styles, but Tom is the guitar man, so he was really the man I turned to.
And should we put the listeners out their misery and maybe hear it?
Yeah, we'll do one, shall we, Tom?
Yeah, the listeners can't see me blushing, can they?
Oh.
He's not really. This is something I wrote a little while ago, and it's about fracking, or should we say anti-fracking. And it's a blues song. It's called Fractured and Broken. Well, I woke up this morning. Oh yeah, I woke up this morning. Been having this weird dream. At least I thought, can things be as they seem? They wanna drill the earth, fractured and broken. Are we supposed to believe a word these people spoken? I got the fractured earth blues. Oh yeah, the fractured earth blues. Thinking, what's the use? Seeing someone's gotta lose. Looking around on the net, they're doing it everywhere, what we get. Earthquakes, tremors, flaming gas instead of water. That's telling what we think. It's really time we ought to. They're making decisions, profit before health. Change geology forever, counting their wealth. I got the fractured earth blues. Oh yeah, I got the fractured earth blues. Thinking, what's the use? Seeing someone's gotta lose. How can we stop their insane actions? Frack apart the ground, chemical reactions. Make our voices heard loud and clear every time that new drilling rig starts to appear. Peaceful protest, reasoning don't work with these guys. Harder their job, less profit they make, let's open their eyes. I got the fractured earth blues. Oh yeah, I got the fractured earth blues. Thinking, what's the use? Seeing someone's gotta lose.
I think you lived up to the name there, the guitar man. I think that was beautiful.
It is, isn't it? Absolutely extraordinary.
And so obviously that's a song about fracking and,
Yes.
and the extraction of gas from shale. So
Yes.
something I know a little bit about myself. I've learned a bit about that because it's something quite close to my heart. But is that the sort of inspiration that's come from yourself, or is Tom?
The words are mine and the music is Tom's. Clearly, I mean, fracking is something everybody should think about. And my inspiration comes from all sorts of sources, as you'll see if we get the chance to do another one. But fracking is something I wanted to write something about to raise awareness. And for some reason it came out as a blues song. No idea why.
And with this collaboration, have you experimented with lots of different styles?
Yeah, we go through a wide variety of styles, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, we do, yeah. I think it's still quite early days, yeah. There's quite a lot of potential for it. But, yeah, we've tried to keep it fairly varied, as hopefully you'll see.
What is your favourite kind of style then, Tom? What would you be jamming on a Friday evening? Is that making me sound terribly?
It's a great question. Depends on the mood.
Yeah.
You know, I'm quite lucky because I do music for a living, so anything I view as work, like teaching and wedding gigs, I'm very professional with it, and I try and view that separately. But when I'm just practicing on my own, or I'm doing my own gigs as a singer-songwriter, I do that for fun and for pleasure. Though I do get paid to do it, I try and keep it separate. So I love Spanish guitar. It's probably one of my favourite styles. I also love folk. I love a bit of jazz, a bit of blues. I love everything. I just love music, really.
An incredibly eclectic taste.
Yeah, I guess so. I think 95% of musicians would say exactly the same thing, to be honest. And I suppose the general public would probably agree with that as well. If you asked man in the street, what's your favourite style, they'd probably say, well, I like this, I like that, you know. Apart from perhaps things like heavy metal, where it's like a culture that goes with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, eclectic would be a good word, I think.
That sounds perfect for a team up with a very eclectic poet like yourself, Dean.
Yes, that's the thing. I mean, we go through all sorts of different styles, folk, jazz, you name it, we do it. So, yeah, really, it's whatever music fits the poem.
Ah, so when you're writing your poems, is there almost a beat or a kind of?
It's more a rhythm. You know, I'm a performance poet, although I do publish books as well. So when I'm writing, I'm actually speaking it in my head as I write it, because I need to be able to actually say it. So there's always a rhythm and a beat in my mind when I'm actually writing a poem, yes.
And then how have you guys got together and married the poem to the music? That's something very kind of airy to myself, who I'm a very kind of literal lady.
It's rehearsals, really, just to get the whole thing coming together in a way that an audience can actually access. So I will give Tom the poem, and genius it is, he will come up with the music that suits it. And
you said you had another song to play.
Yes, if we have the time.
Yes, well, we've got a good 18 minutes, so I'm sure we can squeeze another track in there. Right, let's hear.
There's also a short one after this if we have the time to do that as well, which would be nice.
That would be lovely.
So this is called Come Work in Our Factories, and it's about the Industrial Revolution and then the IT revolution that's been happening in, well, the last 20 years or so. So it tells a story. Ready, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Long hours spent toiling the land, his family had done for generations. Living in tune with the seasons, never thinking of other occupations. Farmers his father and grandfather before him had been, what else to be? Of his sons he was proud, he said, one day you will take over from me. Come work in our factories, leave your village, leave your land. Come work in our factories, live in our town, live as we planned. 1820 was the year, November the month it happened. He stored his grain for winter, his carpet was fattened. Father, we must leave, we promised work in the mill. Slowly the village emptied, leaving old timers and the ill. Come work in our factories, take our money, take your pay. Come work in our factories, work in danger, work as we say. Factories filled with young farmers along with their wives, children knowing only noise and danger for all their young lives. Living in the town, surrounded by bricks and by stone, their farms but a memory, now forlorn and alone. Come work in our factories, low income, low rewards. Come work in our factories, make us rich, make us lords. Long hours spent toiling in factories, his family had done for generations. Living working men and women, never thinking of other occupations. Factory workers, his father and grandfather before him had been, what else to be? Until modernisation and mechanisation, he said, what will become of me? Come work in our factories, learn new skills, learn computers. Come work in our factories, live in villages, live as commuters.
Wow. Is that another kind of area you're really interested in, like the change of society and
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. How things changed 250 years ago with the Industrial Revolution and how things have changed in the last couple of decades. Yeah, it is an area that interests me greatly.
I know it's something that kind of is emphasised. I've mentioned it many times before. I've got a 6-year-old daughter. And the world she's living in is completely the different one, not just because she's away with the fairies for a good part of the afternoon, but we do have a copy of Tom's CD, and I was trying to play it on the CD player, but even for me, I'm an MP3 kind of gal, and I was phoning around with the CD player this morning, and I just failed. So the world is changing so fast.
Very rapidly, yes. I'm afraid I tend to buy out of a lot of the 21st century modernisation in a way. I have the most basic of phones possible, and I do like vinyl records, but maybe I'm a little bit of a one-off these days.
Maybe. Definitely the only poet that I know of in the flesh. I mean, poetry is such a distant sort of medium to a lot of people, isn't it?
It is, and this is what I'm seeking to do. I've been doing this for a few years now, is show people that poetry is accessible. You know, I take my inspiration from a lot of musicians rather than poets, guys like George Harrison, Donovan, and these people inspire me a lot more than sort of some of the dry, dusty old poets. And it is accessible. You know, the things that guys like myself are writing about, come along and have a listen, and you'll find actually it's very accessible and enjoyable.
So where can people come along and have have you two got together and are you ready for a performance?
We did a performance a couple of weeks ago at Garstang Library, really just to see how it went, wasn't it, Tom? And we loved it. And although we didn't have a massive audience, the audience did enjoy it. So we will be doing more in the future. We're doing something on the Flag Market in August. Is it August the 9th, Tom?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be getting together and doing something there as part of a big arts event. So that's the next time Tom and I will be on stage.
Oh, fabulous. You said you had one more short song for us.
Yes. This is actually, I've put out a poetry collection called So Many Words, which is available from Amazon and all good online retailers. So Many Words, Dean Fraiser, type it in, you'll find it. And this is the title poem, but it's a favourite one to perform, actually. So, ready, Tom? Words, 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 so many words. Words of threat, words of bullying, words of thoughtlessness. Words can crush any potential. Words, 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 so many words. Words of encouragement, words of support, words to lend a living hand. Words can move any mountain.
Thank you. They can indeed. That was beautiful. So, at the Flag Market on the
9th of August.
9th of August. Yep. And I know you've mentioned that you're on Facebook already.
Yep. Dean Fraiser, Quantum Poet, and you'll find me on Facebook, yes.
And Tom, where can we find out or hear more of yourself?
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook. I've also got my own website, but it's being revamped at the moment, so it's actually inaccessible to the public. But that's tommetcalfemusic.com. That should be up again by next month. But you can find me on all the social media. Just stick my name in there, Tom Metcalfe, with an E on the end.
With an E on the end.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook and all that.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure hearing and meeting you today.
Thanks, Millie.
Thank you.
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Huey and our Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.